What is going on, everybody? It's Nothing But Skills here, and in today's video what we're going to be doing is showcasing the Sleigher gun. Yes, that new SMG that shoots snowballs. But this gun has a talent that works really good with certain skill builds, and in this video I'm going to be showing you a particular skill build that it works really good with. So if you guys are watching this gameplay and you're like, wow, that skill build actually puts out a lot of damage and he's using the Sleigher gun for what? Stay tuned, because in this video I'm going to be showing you exactly how to build around this amazing gun. And I think even if I'm going to use it as my secondary, I will be using this for most of my skill builds, because in reality your skill builds would be doing all the work, right? Your skill builds are going to be 100% doing all the work 95% of the time if you build a really good skill build, because there's enough damage from your skills to just take out everything. Now this is a level 4 control point, so that is a heroic control point, and you can see that I just cleared the first wave pretty simple. Look, the boss didn't even have a chance to come out. My skills keep coming off, and the funny thing is my secret mines weren't even modded right, but in the video when I break down the build itself, I'll show you what mods I love having on this build and how you should have it built, right? So just stay tuned to that. We'll have the full build in just a second. We're just finishing up this first part because I wanted to show you that I cleared the first part. What, it took me about, what, a minute 30, and my skills, well, my secret mines didn't even have the right mods. So let's dive into the build. So if we take a look right off the bat, we'll notice that I'm running 3 offensive, 6 defensive, and 14 utility. These 14 utility are crucial to this build, and I'll explain why. We have 237,000 armor, 101,000 health. We have 2,900 skill power on the turret, and then we have 3,000 skill power on the seeker mines. We are running the Sleigher, yes, that named SMG. It only has 26,000 base damage, 250 RPM, 50 round mag. It's not there for the damage, but it is there because we are using it for the talent that it has, because it works really good with the build I have. So the talent is called Hidden Rock. Headshots apply confuse every 20 seconds. So that is a status effect. And when you apply a status effect and you have the BTSU gloves, that will trigger your BTSU gloves. So we'll get into the full build, and if you guys watch, I'll show you another little example of how I trigger my BTSU gloves with these. Now for the secondary, I am running the Merciless. You can run any secondary you want. That's really up to you. For the pistol, I really recommend running the Demolitionist pistol because that has in rhythm. While equipped, enemy kills have a 5% chance to refresh active skill cooldowns. This can occur every 60 seconds. So that's just going to give you another chance to have no skill cooldown, and that's what we want, right? Because we want our skills to always be active and putting out damage. We are running a 4-piece hardwire. This gives you 20% skill power. The 3-piece gives you tamper-proof, electrify your deploy skills. So every time I put my turret up, it's going to cause enemies wandering in the area close to be shocked. Now that shock status will trigger your BTSU gloves. Now the 4-piece will give us the feedback loop. This is really what we want from this build. Killing with a skill resets cooldowns of your other skill. So if my turret gets a kill, well, it's going to reset the cooldown for the seekers right away. If my seekers get a kill, it'll reset the cooldown for my turret. So back and forth. It always keeps my skills not on cooldown. So this has skill haste, and then it has damage to elites. You want damage to elites that stacks on the turret and the seekers. And then for the mod, you want skill power and explosive damage, and then that's going to be throughout this whole build for the utility mods. For the chest is one place I can definitely improve on. This chest right here, you do want to get the talent that says hard hitting, so I had to roll hard hitting on there for that 25% damage to elites, but then I did have skill power, headshot damage, armor. Ideally you really don't need the headshot damage, so you could have total armor here, you could have health, whatever you want to make you have a little bit more survivability. But you really would like to have a better skill power roll on here. Mine's not bad, but I could definitely improve on this build. Now we do have a utility mod slot that has that skill power and that explosive damage. That's what you want, because that's going to help your seekers hit harder, right? And then we have the defensive system mending, armor, total armor, definitely what you want. And then for the offensive system mending, put whatever offensive mod you want here. If you're going to run a shotgun, run the shotgun mod that I have on right here. If you're going to run a rifle as your primary, run the rifle. If you want to just use that SMG to troll the Sleigher, well then put the SMG like I'm doing right now. It's really up to you, whatever you want to do. If you're going to use another weapon and just use a Sleigher to proc the BTSU gloves, you can do that. It's really just up to you on what you want to put in this offensive mod. You really don't need to have anything there because this build is all built around your skills and your skills doing the damage, right? You're just using the weapons to proc those BTSU gloves. Now, if we get into the holster is going to have a yellow and a blue. This has 33k base damage. We have 41k health on here, so that's how I'm at that 101k health. And then we have skill power of 460. And then I have 2 utility mods that are going to give me skill power. Look at that, 4% explosive damage. And then I have another one with skill power and 2.5 explosive damage. Now, these explosive damage utility mods go up to, I believe it's 5%. That's the highest I have. But yeah, and imagine stacking that all on this build. That's a lot of explosive damage. Now, for the knee pads, the last piece of hardwire, we're going to have skill haste. So you want to put skill haste here. You don't need the skill power because you're going to have enough skill power on this build. So just stack more skill haste so that way your cooldown time is a little bit less in case for some reason your skills don't automatically come back. And then we have a utility mod and armor mod. Now that we're in the main part of this build, right? So we're at the gloves. The reason why the Sleigher weapon that causes confuse for 20 seconds or 15 seconds works really good with the BTSU gloves is because the energy infusion talent on the BTSU gloves. Whenever you apply a status effect, your gloves become infused with that effect for 60 seconds. While infused, you gain 10% skill damage, 10% skill healing and repair, which we're not worried about because we're a damage build, and then 10% skill duration. Now, that is for every utility you have. So we have 14 utility, you times that by 10%, that's how much skill damage we're going to have on our turret, and that's how much skill damage we'll have on our seeker mines. And that's why this weapon, the Sleigher, works so good with the BTSU gloves, and it's like this hidden gem they gave to us. Like they just handed us to us, and you can actually use it, right? And once you get the first infusion, you can continue that infusion with charged proxies. That's the next talent. Whenever you throw your skill, so say I throw my seekers, 1.25 seconds after landing, it creates an explosion, applying that infused status effect to all enemies within 6 meters. So that will create a new timer. So we'll get another 60 seconds. So that's why you can really almost have that infused for a long time. You can clear out areas, and that's what you guys saw at the very beginning, right? The great thing about the BTSU gloves, they do come with 2 yellows and a blue. So I roll skill power, explosive damage, skill power. And then on this one, I had to run seeker power because of my chest. If I can get a better chest piece that has a higher skill power roll, I could switch out this utility mod for skill power, explosive damage. And then we do have another defensive mending with armor and total armor to give me that 237k armor. For the backpack, we have the Alp Summit backpack, 20% skill haste, which this skill haste is just helping out with the build. We have skill power on the backpack, 510. So if I get a little bit better skill power roll, I'll try to roll it on there. And then we have 32k health. And then I am running skilled. Like I told you, I want to be able to make sure I always have my seekers or always have my turret active at all times. So skilled gives me skill kills, have 25% chance to reset skill cooldowns. Now, some of you might want to put perfect tech support, but with having 14 utilities, I don't really need that extra 30% skill damage, right? I will always have that extra 14 utility damage on this build because of the BTSU gloves. So having skilled and having my seekers always available and having that chance of always having them with no skill cooldown is what I'm going for. So skilled is my go-to talent with most of my skill builds. Of course, you want to have destructive on here for that 40% explosive damage. And then I got the backpack that has 2 utility mods. So this is going to give me skill power, explosive damage, skill power, explosive damage. So now we have the full build, right? So now we're going to go into the skills. So we're running the cluster seekers. If you look right here, the base damage on them is 612,000. I am running damage mods on 2. So on the ball bearings, I'm running damage. On the delivery system, I'm running damage. And then on the far left, I am running 5 extra cluster mines. Now, if you have the 6, put the 6 on there. I don't know where mine is. I think I might have deleted it on accident. But if you can get those 9 mines, I find that's so much better. Some of you might want to just put more damage. Look, if I put more damage, I'd be up to 728,000 without proccing anything. But having those extra clusters is definitely the way to go. 8 mines and 9 mines is what you want to be at. And then for the assault turret, this is where this build could improve so much, because the mods that I have, right, the mods I have for this turret right here are so low. One of the mods is 117%, but this is only using 2300 skill power. And then if we look at the other one, I think it's only using 1900 skill power. So both of these mods can definitely be improved. Like this one's 98% damage, 1900 skill power. So those two mods could definitely be improved and put out more damage. And then on this one, skill haste, duration, whatever you want. So my base damage on this turret is almost 24,000 and can definitely be improved, but you don't even really notice it because of every time I proc those BTSU gloves, then I put out my skills, and that's when you see all the damage. And one thing you do have to remember is your damage to elites that you have stacked on this build also stacks on your turret and your seeker mine. So that 54% damage to elites on the mask, the 25% damage to elites on the chest, that all stacks on the turret and the seeker mines. And that's why when you guys run these builds, you'll notice how much damage you guys are really doing, right? Like how much damage you're putting out with your skills without even have to shoot a bullet. And that's why this build is so good. So give it a shot. Let me know what you guys think. The build is solid and it works really good with the Sleigher SMG. And I think this SMG is really what I was looking for. I was looking for something that would proc my BTSU gloves without having to use a flame turret, because I was always using a flame turret to proc my BTSU gloves, then throwing out the seekers. But with having a turret, just being able to shoot and put out damage, it works really good with hardwire, because every time it gets a kill, it has a chance, it will refresh my seekers get a kill, then my turret refreshes, and I constantly, with having a chance of always getting my skills back, I can constantly put out damage. And that's why I feel like this build is probably the best skill build in the game right now, this setup right here. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys have any questions, leave a thumbs up. As always, guys, I appreciate all the support. But until the next Division 2 video, nothing but skills out.